Big D Entertainment, in association with Dipsy Doodle Productions, presents The Dave Holly Hour. Brought to you by The Sky Lounge and Tea, XL Chiropractic, Quality Nails, Ale Hop Brewery Tours, and Jesse Moffitt Entertainment. The Dave Holly Hour features Sioux Empire Arts and Entertainment Conversations and has been recognized by the Sioux Falls Stage Awards with a special distinction for promoting the arts. A true lover of arts, entertainment, good food, and fun times, including an occasional Jack Daniels. Okay, so a few Jack Daniels. Here he is, Dave Holly.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Yes, we are having a show today on a holiday. However, I will give you a forewarning. The Thursday before Christmas and the Thursday before New Year's, we're not going to have shows those two Thursdays, same like we did last year, and that might be kind of a holiday tradition on this show, just depending on what's all going on. Hope you're ready for a feast today. And I don't just mean what you're having at Thanksgiving, but a feast of great information and fun stuff to talk about. Coming up, we have Cindy Bahe and Mike Henriksen. They are authors, and they now have Volume 2 of their book series called Genuine Journeys of Life. It's a compilation of stories of everyday people like you and literally me. I happen to be one of the contributors of this book, so it's fun to talk about the whole works and everything else that's along inside of that, along with Cindy and Mike. And then later in the show, Dan Heier and Berven. They're a couple of local drummers. They play a lot, do a lot of different gigs, a lot of different styles and so forth. And even though they've never played together, because, usually you got one drummer, that kind of takes care of it. Well, they talk together at least, and they happen to be good friends. They were kind enough to sit down with us here at the Dave Holly Hour, and so we will be talking with them later in the program. But it is not only Thursday, which we call Weekend Eve, it's Thanksgiving Weekend Eve. Time to grab your favorite beverage, lift it high, and toast it to being Thursday, a.k.a. Weekend Eve.
Hey, the weekend isn't around the corner, it's here!
So long, hump day and your frumpy way. We say hello to Thursdays with opening nights. The weekend is near and we can see the bright lights. Yes, Thursday, you're so hearty, we can't wait for Friday, so a day early, we start the party. And on this Thursday, maybe you already have started partying. Maybe you had champagne for breakfast, a little mimosa or something, huh? Yeah, well, really that's all we're toasting this week on the Weekend Eve is the fact that it is Thanksgiving. And be thankful for all that you have. I am thankful for each one of you. You great listeners and social media sharers, you. All the great guests that we've had over 107 episodes. Of course, our sponsors that you heard at the beginning of the show, and that guy named Ricardo down at our wine bar that allows us to use his facilities to record so many great conversations. And so thankful for the wonderful arts and entertainment community we have here in the greater Sioux Empire. And be thankful just for Thanksgiving Day. My best friend refers to this holiday as pound per pound, the best holiday of all time. Okay, so here's to you, Thanksgiving. The Weekend Eve Toast has been brought to you by Ale Hop Brewery Tours. No matter what brewery in Sioux Falls is your favorite, or add on Glacial Lakes Distillery, Ale Hop Brewery Tours lets you and your friends choose any of those or all of them. Best part, they take on the driving. Very cool van, sits up to 6, so you can book a party. You can book your private tours online at alehopbrewerytours.com. If you're already out and about on the weekend, hop on one of their public tours. For more info, call 605-777-2183. That is 605-777-2183. A lot of people have been taking advantage of this.
what a great way to spend the holidays, going from brewery to brewery and maybe taking in Glacial Lakes as well. All right, there you have it. Ale Hop Brewery Tours, where micro fans meet micro brews. Before we do the honorable mention for the week, it's been a long time since I have had a Dave's Fave. We have a new Dave's Fave. It's going to be Chris's Auto Repair on South Minnesota Avenue. Woke up Monday morning to a car that didn't want to start. Eventually it did. We ran the errands we needed to do, and then we got it into Chris's. By the end of the day, they had it taken care of. And such great customer service. One of the things I loved was when I walked in there is the fact that they didn't just want to know what was the matter. They asked questions, great follow-up questions, and, didn't look at you like, hey, you don't know anything about automobiles. And they were very good in that regard. Also, when it came for me to need a ride to get back home, they got me a lift. Literally got me a lift. Yeah, they called Lyft, and within a minute, Lyft is there, and I'm home. And they pick up the tab for it. Great customer service. Again, a new Dave's Fave. It's Chris's Auto Repair on South Minnesota Avenue. From what I understand, they also have a second location in town now as well. Honorable mention. Okay, what happened this week that made good old Dave smile, laugh, guffaw, chuckle, chortle, slap his knee silly, or maybe just enjoy life and say, wow, this is a fun thing? Well, I'm going to thank my vocal instructor, Amy Morrison. She has been on the show before with her husband, Matt. They are two white squares. Perhaps you've seen them performing downtown Sioux Falls during the summer. Amy's also in a variety of other things. She happens to be the musical director of Goodnight Theater Corporation, or collective, excuse me, not corporation. But she is just a wonderful soul, and she turned 50 this week. So she had a 50th birthday party, and she made it a 50s theme. Her love of musicals started by seeing Grease. So as part of the party, they showed the movie Grease, along with the sing-along parts, so everybody could have fun. And if you wanted to yell out something at the screen and say, that's a lie, or oh yeah, and different things like that, you certainly could. So that was a very fun time. And by the way, anybody that's ever worked with Amy in the arts and entertainment world in the Sioux Empire, you know what a dandy she is. So happy 50th birthday this week to Amy Morrison. All right, later on in the show, double drumsticks on your Thanksgiving feast of the Dave Holly Hour. It's Dan Heier and Al Berven. But we're going to start off with a nice little appetizer and some really good meaty stuff coming up with Genuine Journeys of Life, Volume 2, the book by Cindy Bahe and Mike Henriksen. It's next on the Dave Holly Hour.
Sure, they have darts, and you've heard me talk about how ruggedly handsome the trivia host is, but all caps fun never stops at the Sky Lounge and Tea. And fun is best had with your friends enjoying live entertainment, as in live and local. Yeah, the Sky Lounge believes in giving you the best bands, solo artists, and comedians from the area. The Neo Johnsons, Elizabeth Hunstead, Skylar Volks, as well as many others. And a great staff will make sure you enjoy your fun at the Sky Lounge in Tea, South Dakota.
Ladies, when it's time to give your nails some love, get that extra special treatment from Quality Nails on South Minnesota Avenue in Sioux Falls. Manicures and pedicures that look great and make you feel fantastic. Zaya and Tony provide professional care for your hands and feet, whether you just want the basics or an extra special look with added flair. Oh, and guys, it's okay to treat yourself, too. Quality Nails. Call for an appointment. 605-334-1463.
Happy holidays from everyone at Dave Holly Hour.
Welcome back, everybody. As always, such a pleasure to have great people on the show. One has been here before, the other has not, but they've both been collaborating and have two books out now. Mike Henriksen, who many of you know,
Good afternoon.
How are you, sir?
I'm well, or whenever you may be listening to this.
Yes,
That's right.
That's right. Podcast people. I've even had one say she listens in the bathtub.
Good for her.
Yeah. Mike's been
You
on
missed
before.
a spot.
Yeah. We talked that time about Super Bowl and a variety of different things and entertainment, because Mike's also done stand-up comedy in the past. But recently he has been writing books. He wrote his sports book that was all about great stories that you've had for interviews. And now you and Cindy Bahe have come together, and we have Genuine Journeys of Life. And that did so well, even during a pandemic, that you decided, hey, we got to have a volume 2. Cindy, welcome.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Great to have you on for your first time here. I'm sure there will be more, because I have the feeling that there's even more stories that are yet to be told. But who approached who first to say, hey?
Cindy approached me, so I'll let her tell the story. We go back a couple of years.
Yeah, a couple decades, but let's
add
not date us,
zero.
okay?
Yeah, exactly.
Right. I don't know. I had this idea in the back of my head for a couple of years, and I was living in Pierre at the time, and once I moved down to Sioux Falls and caught up with Mike, and he has a journalism background also, as do I, and I thought, he'd be a really good partner to link up with and come up with. We're going through a pandemic, and I thought it would just be nice to have humorous, lighthearted, collections of stories. So we got together and kind of massaged that out, and Mike thought, why don't we have everything? Why don't we have humorous? Why don't we have heartfelt? Why don't we have historical and sad, and everything that everybody goes through in their life? Everybody encompasses everything. And the more we thought about it, the more it made sense. And I think between the two of us, we knew not everybody in the state of South Dakota, but it was a good
Quite
start.
a few.
Yes.
Right.
And at least with him, several bartenders.
Guilty. Yes.
Who was the first person you reached out to?
Actually, I had pages and pages and pages from an interview I did with a World War II vet years before this, and he had never really told his full story to anybody. And I'd go over to his house, and he'd talk and he'd talk and he'd talk, and I documented all of his stories, but I didn't know what to do with it. It wasn't enough just on its own. Mm-hmm. So I kept all those notes. And I kept thinking, I have to honor his memory somehow. I have to put this in something. And that's kind of how the wheel started spinning. And I thought, everybody's got a story to tell. Everybody's gone through so many experiences. And, then I came to Mike, and we got together, and it just kind of blossomed.
And blossomed so much you have 2 volumes now.
Yes.
We do.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what's different in this one versus volume 1? Any story changes in terms of the types of stories you got and so forth?
I think it's pretty much a similar mix. Because actually, I go back to the Jim Valvano famous speech.
Yeah.
If you laugh, if you cry, and if you think, you've had a full day. And so we kind of followed the same formula. The good news is we do know interesting people who have lived had interesting experiences and can actually share it. And we should tell people, Dave is actually in this book with a very, very heartfelt story that was really, really a great addition. So we're very
thank you.
Very thankful.
I was thankful to be asked.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's actually going to lead me to the next question, because you're right. Both of you, everybody has a story. Mm-hmm. And I had to whittle it down. Which one do I want to tell?
Right.
And it was actually my wife, Carrie, that said, go with that one.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad I did, because, it got it off my chest of what I had been wanting to do. And, we're kind of teasing everybody right now about it. But it's about the eulogy not given.
Right.
I had always thought that I would give my father's eulogy. And then when he passed, I knew I just wouldn't be able to do it. And there were some different things associated with the grief, but things that I would do, like after the funeral service, kind of do an open mic, like who has a great story about Dad? That's fine. And then it took a long time to really, truly grieve. But then when I did, it did happen.
Right.
But I still had all this information in my melon, over the past 3-4 years. Going, gosh, I just wish I'd said that. And then when you invited me and I was trying to figure out what to write, that hit the spot. And it's like, okay, now I can feel refreshed and fully, out of that as well.
It's therapeutic.
Yes, very much so.
Very.
Yeah.
I mean, my niece had a story in her volume 1, and I didn't think she'd do it because it was very painful for her. And it really brought her through a lot of her feelings and a lot of things that she had never told a lot of her family. So
a lot of people let go and write down quite personal things, but also a lot write quite humorous things.
Oh, yes. Yes.
We did get that you were looking for in the original pandemic portion of it. But, what type of a thing are you most excited about, Cindy, when you talk to somebody and say, hey, would you like to be in our book?
I love gathering details and writing the stories myself, but I also love it when people, some of these are written by Mike or I, or some of them are written by the actual people, and then we edit them. But we try to keep their tone and their slang in there to make it sound like it's more authentic, like it's coming from the actual person.
Right.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
So that just excites me. I love hearing about people's stories, and a lot of people have told me, I read this story and I could resonate with it and I could relate to it, and it made me feel like I wasn't alone in this situation. So it's awesome. And I love hearing about the dumb things that happen to people.
Right. Yep.
Or the stunts that radio people have done.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah, because that was the first in the first volume.
Yeah.
Our mutual friend Chad McKenzie
Right.
sleeping in a van.
For a week, as
For a
it was
week.
suspended
In the air.
6 stories in the air over Minnesota Avenue. So while broadcasting.
Yes.
The whole time. Well, and this time too, we've got some. You talked about more than one story. Toby Kane is actually in both books, and we've got this one maybe has a little bit more history than the first one, because we have Amy Rambo talking about how Watertown Pride came to be a big deal. That's not something that you normally find in conservative small town South Dakota. And so the fact that it has gotten so big and even was on some HBO show called We're Here, which I'm not familiar with, but it's on HBO. That's good enough for me. For her to put that origin story. I've got a great friend of mine, Craig Sievertson from Flandreau, who's in charge of helping kids round first. And that's an organization that helps out kids in Nicaragua. And so I said, how did this come to be, and how has it gotten so big? Because now it started with baseball equipment. Now they're doing healthcare and farming practices and myriad of feeding programs, etc. So consequently, there may be just a bit more history. One that I was delighted to get was Don Jorgensen from Kello TV. We got him to tell the story of his motorcycle accident and recovered. So I've been, we were just, everybody that said yes, we were just so happy.
Have you ever turned down anybody yet?
Yes. We have a couple still in the hopper.
So ready for number 3 then.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So it isn't even like we turned them down just based on balance and, those types of things. So
how many stories do we have in volume 2?
18?
I think so, 18. So they're completely different stories than volume 1, obviously. I just want to make that clear. But the other story that I was proud to put in was about my then 70-some-year-old father getting lost on a hunting trip. And He is now 93 and doing
Okay.
well, and obviously he lived.
Yeah.
Right.
But the story is unbelievable what he went through. And when my brother told me about what happened the next morning, he got about halfway, and I said, "There's no way nobody would go through all these things." And he goes, "I swear to God, you can hear it from the horse's mouth." And, and he would not talk about it for 3-4 years.
Oh, really?
I poured him a couple of rum and cokes, and I sat down. And all I had was a little sticky pad, and I'm just sketching and writing details down. And so one of his stories, his story about his survival is in there.
Yeah. And told in a very funny and lighthearted
Right.
manner.
As you
know.
mentioned, Cindy, you get the slang and so
Right.
forth. And so
Absolutely.
people can hear that voice and so forth.
Right.
That is just, such a great thing. And it's wonderful that we have a book like this here,
Well, thanks.
local.
Yeah.
It's people that a number of people are going to know when they take a look at the authors that are in there and recognize, like you said, with Don Jorgensen and his motorcycle
Right.
accident and rehab and so forth. And,
Yeah. We got
And-
Melissa Johnson from
Oh,
My
yes.
Cupcakes.
Yeah. What an entrepreneur.
Yeah, and she tells a story that she's never told before. She goes and speaks all over the country, but she says she's never told this story. So we were very honored that she shared it with us.
Look forward to reading that one as well.
Yes.
So how do people, first of all, go about getting the book?
We have a new website
Yes,
set up.
we do.
Thanks to Mike. Woohoo. It's genuinejourneysoflife.com, and you can order the book directly from there. And we also have it on Amazon.com. And for those of you that have a Kindle, you can download it for only $10, and it's live, so you can get it right now as we speak. And you can also order the softcover copy from Amazon.com as well.
But we'd prefer that you order, if you want a hard copy, we would prefer that you order from Genuine Journeys of Life.
Okay.
Because we need the money a lot
Yeah.
more than Jeff Bezos.
Amen.
Not planning any trips to space right now. Okay.
No.
I would love to, but I'm just a few million short.
Yeah.
It's going to be a lot of book
I
sales.
think you might need more along the lines of billion, not million.
Right.
All right, so that's fantastic. Again, looking forward to reading that. But let's talk about you guys as well in terms of how you got into this. You talked earlier about just you, Cindy, had spoken to Mike, knowing that he had a journalism background. And you had, these stories that you were thinking of. Let's just make it lighthearted and get some humor out there. And it kind of took on a voice of its own.
It did.
But what got you into writing and journalism?
This was actually, I had published a book before the book with Mike. So it was a novel about a woman in South Dakota. It's a novel called A Trunk of Character. So that was my first book that I put out, and it's probably 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Is it that long?
I know I lose track of time, but so that was the start of it. And then I, kind of had this idea, and I thought the book actually was based on an interview with a woman who at the time was 103 years old, and I documented so much of her life, and then of course her health went downhill and she passed away, and I wasn't sure what to do with it. So I intertwined a fictional character with her stories in and out. So that's how the novel came to being. And then that made me think, after interviewing the World War II vet, we've got to preserve some of these stories.
Right. Yep.
We just have to. And the people in our books, they will have this for forever, and their relatives and their kids and grandkids will be able to pull out this book and read their story and go, wow, this is Grandpa's story or Grandma's story, and it's a permanent recollection. So that's what's exciting for me.
Yeah, I know that because, the memory part is just fantastic, the stories that you'll read in this, but also the fact that, you sit there and kind of wonder, shouldn't everybody be doing this with their family history?
Oh, yes.
Right.
Oh, yes. Yes.
So at least some people are going to have something that, as you mentioned, grandkids or whomever will be taking a look at it. But, I would love to have a book about my grandfather.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, things along that line. And so it's nice that you were able to put this together. Mike, what made you start to write? Being more the broadcast.
Yeah, broadcaster. But I've always enjoyed writing. Also, I hesitate to call myself an author, even though this is my third book now.
Yeah.
Because what Cindy wrote was fiction. My first book was just a compilation of interviews I had done over the course of time. We transcribed them and put them out. Again, a different way of holding up history. But I'm the only adult in my family that is not in education. Brother, sister, sister-in-law, brother-in-law, wife, kids in-laws they're all in education. But I think had I had the discipline, they really want you to show up to class.
That helps.
Yeah, which was a real downfall. But I love history of all kinds. And
Right.
I can't capture the big stuff, but we can capture the little stuff. And just these little snippets. One of the things you were talking about with South Dakotans and local people, et cetera, we do have people in the book that aren't from here. And I think the biggest thing is that all of these stories that people have submitted, they ring true for so many people.
Regardless of where you might live.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. There's absolutely so much truth. And again, some of these stories are serious, but they're told in a funny and entertaining way. That was the nice thing, was finding so many people willing to share their stories and so many people that were so good at it. So, but yes, I enjoy writing. I did write a piece for this about Farm Aid 1987 in Lincoln, Nebraska.
Yeah.
So, and how my dad ended up having lunch with a famous person.
Okay.
So
Teasing.
there you go. Exactly. Yep. And Dad, of course, had no idea who he was. It didn't have the slightest idea that he had just spent half an hour or so with a very famous person. So, yes.
Oh, that'll be awesome. Is there a novel in Mike Henriksen's future?
No. There might be an autobiography.
Okay.
But way too many people I know are still alive. So consequently, that's probably not in the offing anytime soon either. No, there's so many stories and stuff, and people have asked me about that. But that's kind of my way of just doing it a small piece at a time, And I'm very lucky. I've been able to write for, South Dakota Magazine on a few occasions and those types of things. But no, I don't have the self-discipline to do enough.
And it's hard when we both work full time.
Exactly.
And this is on the side, and
Exactly.
it's like constant. It's like, do you get a night off? Do you get a weekend off, or just like a few hours or whatever?
Right.
It's just,
When you're in charge of your own calendar after your full-time job.
right.
And you got to sit there and go, okay, I've got this that I have to be at, so I'm not going
Right.
to do anything that
And
night.
what you think might, like publishing a book, what you think might take you an hour ends up at least 4. At least. It's very frustrating.
What is the publishing process like?
Very, like I said, very
Yeah.
frustrating.
Yeah.
I mean, between the website, the layout, all the ins and outs. Luckily, I had published my first book on my own, so I kind of knew a little of the ins and outs, but so much has changed since 15 years ago. So it's just, it gets grueling at times, but it's rewarding in the end. We don't do it for the money. We do it for,
Which is
like
a good
this.
thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
You heard of starving
Are we
artists?
still in the
Think of
hole?
starving authors.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there another novel coming from you anytime?
I started it, but it's so difficult to pull off. Like I said, when you have this going on and life and full-time job, and
You've got a daughter get married.
Daughter getting married in April, so
Oh, my.
yeah, it's taking a lot of time and everything. But one thing I would like to do is, there's a lot of people out there that keep saying, I really need to document some of my stories and hand them down to my grandkids. Come to us. I mean,
Right.
We'll
Okay.
sit down
Yeah.
with you one-to-one. I mean, during the pandemic, we had to do it through email and on the phone. We
Right.
couldn't meet face-to-face, which was really hard because you don't get that tone and that
Such a
personal
difference.
contact, right?
Yeah.
We pulled it off, but if there's any people out there that have a story they want out there, we'd be happy to sit down with them.
And you can contact us at genuinejourneysoflife.com.
Right.
Wherever you may be hearing this, we would be delighted
Right.
to
I've
hear
got
from you.
one in Alaska, one in Spain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. That'd be great. We'd love to have stories.
And this doesn't stop with South Dakota. Most of our people are from South Dakota just because of our contacts, but we have people from Arizona, Colorado, Yugoslavia,
Andre is originally from Chicago. from our
Chicago,
first book.
right?
Yeah.
So they're all over the place. So it doesn't matter
Right.
where they are. But I love hearing these interesting stories. I think it's so cool.
And we love reading them.
Good.
And we're
Good.
looking forward to volume 2. Again, I do happen to be in it, but and both of you have stories in there as well. This is the Thanksgiving edition of the Dave Holly Hour, and I am so thankful that both of you had the ability to take some time and come in and talk about it and spread some good stuff that we need. Mike, I know that Wednesday night before Thanksgiving is mutually one of our favorite nights of the year.
It is. And for years, and I have, obviously some things have changed, but for years it was so great because especially I was living in Del Rapids at the time. That is when everyone is coming back to town. And especially the kids that are now old enough to go drinking. And so they'll come back and all of a sudden it's like the statute of limitations is over and they can actually tell you what happened in high school or what they thought, whether it was my kids or their friends or whatever, just generations of people. So many folks come back on for Thanksgiving, and that Wednesday night, that I think you had a dandy idea.
Fun.
It should be declared an official holiday.
It should, and I want to make it that. And I think
Okay.
what we need to do is we need to pitch it to a middle school civics class, social studies class,
Right.
or whatever the governor deems it is this week.
Right.
And pitch it to them so they can take it to the legislature, so they learn about the legislative process and what it all goes through. And, legislators, when it comes to kids, they tend to get a little more, oh, isn't this a great idea?
They do.
Yeah.
That's great thinking.
So I think it would be a fun deal and, get it officially declared in South Dakota. A lot of people are starting to use it Thanksgiving Eve, but we want it official.
Right,
We want a
right.
proclamation on it.
Yep.
how
As of 5 p.m. on Wednesday. Yeah.
Exactly. Perfect timing on it.
Yep.
What are you doing this year for Thanksgiving?
I'm not sure. We may run down to see my sister a bit. The kids have activities going on, so I don't know if Deb and I are going to see those guys at all. I know we'll FaceTime some with the family up in the cities, and hopefully we'll get down to Lincoln.
All right. Cindy, how about you? What are some of the Thanksgiving things you've done in the past, and what are you doing this year?
Well, early Thanksgiving, tomorrow night, I have a cousin coming in town, and we have a long-standing practical joke on each other. So we're always trying to outdo each other. So I have a lot of homework to do tonight to try and get him. And that kind of evolves in our family.
Are there things that can be told as to what some in the past have been?
Is this a family podcast?
It can be listed as exclusive.
Okay. Let's see. We had a traveling trophy for at least 2 decades, if not 3, and it was a big Mexican plaque that weighed about 20 pounds, and we would pass it around for a 30th birthday, 40th birthday. Somebody would have a baby. It got delivered to the National Guards. It was strapped on top of a rooftop on a fireplace. It showed up on OB wards, just all kinds of things. So, and it's gotten quite weathered through the years, but that was pretty fun. But other than that, just getting together with my family, and after last year when we couldn't, this puts on a whole new meaning, and I hope I never forget what it's like, because being away from that and being pulled away and that isolation, I'm sure everybody can relate to it, was not good. So especially thankful for that this year.
All right. And like I said, I'm thankful for the two of you. Thank you for what you've done, putting together 2 volumes now and more to come.
More to come.
And always, Michael, our friendship. Cindy, we've recently met, and appreciate everything that you've done and knew about you prior anyway. So thank you both, and happy Thanksgiving.
Dave,
thanks to you.
Yeah, thanks so much.
I forgot to ask what you're doing for Thanksgiving.
My wife, I actually have to work until 4, but it's at home, and it may be one of those situations where the company I work for lets us go early.
Right.
But the one thing we're doing afterward, no matter what, we're not doing turkey, we're doing ham. But we got a free turkey by buying the ham at IV.
Right.
And so that's going to be Christmas probably. But we're having one of our favorite bartenders over.
Oh, and what time are we invited?
4:01.
Okay, we'll be there at 3:59.
All right, sounds good. And trust me, we have more fun for Thanksgiving coming up in just a moment as the Dave Holly Hour continues, because we're going to have a couple of turkeys. I mean,
he doesn't
turkey
mean
legs.
us.
No, turkey legs. No, drumsticks. No, drummers. So we're going to have 2 drummers coming up next. But again, thanks to both of you.
Dave, thanks so much. A pleasure. We appreciate the invite. GenuineJourneysOfLife.com.
Look forward to it.
Thanks, Dave.
And we will be back with more of the Dave Holly Hour in just a moment.
Hi, my name is Jesse Moffett, and I'm not a piano player. I'm a comic magician and hypnotist. I've been performing for over 20 years. I've performed at many events, corporate events, holiday parties, post-prom parties, graduation parties, state and county fairs, festivals, just about anything you can imagine. The funniest thing about the Magic Act is that I use a ton of audience participation, and that can make things really interesting. Put it down the front of your shirt. Stop being so my hand won't follow. The best thing about the hypnosis show is that the volunteers and their imaginations really make it a blast.
Holy crap, dude, did you see what you just did? You could do that possibly to girls.
For booking information, go to Jesse Moffett Entertainment on Facebook. That's JESSEMOFFITT. Or call 605-929-0964.
Happy holidays from everyone at Dave Holly Hour.
Welcome back to the Thanksgiving edition, everybody, of the Dave Holly Hour. And we're now joined by the turkeys. Or at least the drumsticks, or at least the drummers. Al Berven and Dan Heier, how are you, gentlemen?
Very good. Doing great. Thanks,
Great
Dave.
to have you along. You know, we do have things queued up just in case we need it. And even a timpani. Wow. Yeah, we're ready to go.
Just for us.
Just for you guys.
Nice. All right.
Excellent. Well, great to have you both. Been wanting to get you guys on for a long time, and then it was like, hell, why not put them on at the same time? That'd be pretty good. Dueling drummers. And if only we had the sets here to do that.
Oh, that'd be good.
Yeah.
We figured we're not interesting enough, so we have to have both of us.
We'll have double the drummer jokes. Promise.
You have?
No.
Oh, just by being here.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's start there. Favorite drummer joke?
I don't like any of them.
Oh, now I'm on the spot.
Yes,
Shoot.
you are, yeah.
Okay. No, normally someone else says them, so maybe this was a bad idea. You want a vocalist joke? I got those, but
Okay.
All right.
Let's hear a vocalist joke. Yeah, get
All right.
back at some of your
Oh,
friends.
My wife's gonna kill me. All right. So, how do you know a vocalist is at your front door?
Don't know.
They lost a key and don't know when to come in.
Oh. The lost. Yes, yes. Rim shot on that for sure. I'm just going to keep that queued up now.
I'm sorry.
Might have
it's
him.
a bad joke.
Well, see, I've heard that reference to a drummer before.
Oh.
Didn't know when to come in. But
Or
the
when to
vocalist, I like that with the lost the key. That's good.
The drummers always know when to come in.
Oh, you do, huh? All right. Now, the typical thing about, drummers, did you both have to take piano as kids?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, I took a year.
Okay.
And wish I took more, but yes.
Yeah, okay. Because that's always seems to be the thing that, if you're going to go into percussion and so forth, you've got to be able to read everything, and you've got to be able to play piano or at least know the concepts of it and so forth. But
My mother was a teacher, piano teacher, but I didn't take from her.
Oh.
I don't know why.
Who made the decision on that, you or her?
I think she did.
Okay, she might have been saying, no, there's no way I can handle this kid.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. What got you into playing drums? Because you now have on your Instagram page a great 2 pictures.
Well, they bought that drum set.
At age what?
Right before my 3rd birthday. Because I was ruining, I think, the end table or the couch, or both, with whatever.
Tapping and doing whatever?
Yeah, Lincoln
Okay.
logs or whatever, different, whatever apparatuses you could use to weapons. So they got me a drum set. And I guess I destroyed that drum set right away on Christmas,
Right.
and so it didn't last long.
How long before you got another one then?
I don't remember. I know I got several of those, like
The little
Cedars.
drum kit things and so forth that used to be relatively inexpensive.
Right. And then it was 4th grade when I got a real drum set that you could actually fix.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And what did that drum set include?
I got a 5-piece drum set.
5-piece, okay.
Hi-hat, crash and ride.
Yeah, wow.
Yep.
That's pretty cool.
A
man.
nice one.
Yeah. All right, Dan, how about you then?
I started drumming in 5th grade, and I chose that because my oldest brother, he played drums, and so I did the typical school band program.
Right.
I almost quit, and then I think it was my 7th grade, for Christmas, they got me a drum set, and then the rest was history. It was a black pearl drum kit.
Oh,
very similar, 5-piece. Hi-hats.
Yeah.
Horrible sounding hi-hats. Horrible sounding crash ride, but a lot of fun.
That's the main thing, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And were both of you relegated to garages? Basement, you got it, huh?
I was upstairs. I kind of had like a hall to myself after my older siblings, graduated high school and all that stuff. So I kind of had like that whole side of the house. And there was only, I think, one time where my parents were like, you got to stop now.
Was that toward midnight?
Nope. I'm sure they were busy. They were great. They were very supportive. And I grew up on a farm, so I didn't have to worry about neighbors.
Right.
And my dad was obviously at the farm. So I would try to practice, before my mom came home from work, like getting off the bus.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
Right away.
Yeah, the whole town. I grew up in Chester,
Mm-hmm.
and the whole town heard me.
I bet.
And they still, every once in a while, you see somebody and go, "Oh, we miss hearing you play drums."
It's been how long since then?
You don't. I've been out there for a long time.
Okay, so the granddaughter is in 5th grade. Despite having a family of flautists, she decided she's going to play drums. What is the advice you give somebody just starting drums?
Play.
Just keep at it.
Keep at it, but also take lessons from Dan.
We'll see. Kind of hoping that Christmas presents coming down the line.
Oh,
yeah.
Play, though.
I like what he said.
Yeah. Dan's going, income. This is a nice thing.
So,
what was the first gig each of you got where you got money.
All right, I got this one. Red Rooster Coffee Club or coffee shop in Aberdeen, South Dakota.
No kidding.
Downtown. I was in a band with two of my cousins. They were twins. They were called Sour Apple, and we had T-shirts and everything. It was great, and I made $30.
Woo! That's what this podcast makes a week.
Well, there you go.
I was in a group. Well, I think this is the first one. I was in a group called the Tutors. that was like all people from the band and school, and we played Prairie Village, and we got paid. I don't remember how much, but we went straight to Pizza Hut.
Yeah, and
spent
it all
as a group.
Well, that's what you have to do.
Yeah.
All right, so some early beginnings for both of you. That's great, but let's talk about what you do now. So you guys both play several times with various people, a lot of jazz, especially for you, Dan. Is that the forte for you?
Yeah, that jazz is what kind of really, I would say, kept me playing on drums. So when I was a sophomore in high school, we moved to town. From the farm town, Roscoe, South Dakota. We moved to Sioux Falls, and there was a record or CD shop called FYE in the mall.
Oh, I remember it, yeah.
And at the time, and they had a jazz section. I remember my first drum set teacher going, if you want to learn how to play jazz, like, and I just like,
and as a young kid, you kind of go, I'm rock and roll.
Yeah, I'm impressionable. I'm like, okay. And so, which oddly enough is how I kind of got introduced to Al, because my first drum teacher gave me the Steve Smith DVD, and I came down a week before Steve Smith's drum clinic, and like it was a week before, and I like begged my parents to come back. And I couldn't, but I moved to town later and I bought the drum set, so that's all well, and I made Al happy there. So anyway, so I'm at FYE.
Over at Sioux Falls Music, huh?
Yep, at Sioux Falls Music. And I bought 2 CDs. One was a Buddy Rich tribute, Burning for Buddy, that Neil Peart put together. And I listened to that and went, that's cool, I can't do that. And so then the other one, I was just browsing through the jazz section. And I was like, that name seems really familiar. I think I read this name. There's a website called drummerworld.com. Just a list of drummers, pictures, videos. And it was Art Blakey. And I probably saw his name once, and I was like, well, I have money for 2, so I bought that one. And I plugged it in, and the first track is Moanin', where I put the CD in, and I went, I can learn to do that.
Okay.
And that was it from there.
That took off.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Al.
Yeah.
And so, first of all, a question I want to ask both of you anyway is, what's your favorite drum solo?
Favorite drum solo?
Yeah.
That we didn't play?
Yeah, that you haven't played. What's the one that you would love to be able to go out and do?
Well, my hero, I would love to play Captured, La Du Day, Steve Smith rock and roll drum solo. Which, you can play parts of it, but I don't try that hard to mimic him in that song.
Dan, what's yours?
Well, it can change often.
Right.
Recently, it's probably been there's a brush solo by Jeff Hamilton, and he does, the Willy Wonka song, Pure Imagination.
Oh, love it. Yeah.
It was on this record, just came out. Graham Dector. And he takes a brush solo on a ballad, and it's just captivating.
Wow.
I mean, I was just like, it was just unbelievable. It
what
knocked
album
me on
is
the floor. It's called Major Influences by Graham Dector. I'm not sure.
Graham Dector.
Yep, Graham Dector.
I'm going to have to get that because I love that song, for one thing.
Yeah.
I've sung it myself many times.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, just a...
Jeff Hamilton on drums, John Clayton, I believe, on bass, and Tamir Handelman on piano. And it was just, I heard that and was just blown away. So I don't know if I'll learn it completely, but I'll try to draw influence from it.
Doesn't he play Caravan also?
Yeah, he does a really cool
Caravan.
Caravan.
Whole Caravan.
Classic.
Yes.
So he's doing the melody on the drums.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of Jeff Hamilton's things, and then he'll do like the whole, put the sticks or brushes down and play with his hands and
Incredible.
and just captivate the crowd type of deal.
Al, when it comes to your style, you play a lot of jazz, but you also play some pretty big shows. And
Not in the jazz world.
not in the jazz world. No, you play some, Corey the Fireflies a lot,
Yep.
and so forth. And so it's interesting always to take a look at your pictures of your drum sets, because I see Dan down here at our wine where we're recording the interview, and Dan's got a nice set and so forth, and I've seen you play down here, and you've got a few things, and then you show what the stage looks like for Corey the Fireflies. How many pieces are in that set?
Well, it depends what you call pieces, but the drums are, is it 10 or 11? Something like that.
Okay. Cowbells, hi-hats, cymbals.
Oh, just recently I added a cowbell.
Okay.
I haven't had a cowbell for years.
Really?
Yeah. And there's probably 8 or 9 cymbals.
Yeah.
I don't even know. I just know when they're
it's
missing.
Up there.
I know when they're missing, and that's
because
about
you miss it.
Yeah.
What's the biggest fear as a drummer?
Singing.
So that's why you tell the vocalist joke.
Yeah. It's out of fear. It's an insecurity in myself.
All right, but let's talk about that. At what point did you say, because you talk about the CDs that you bought, and you said, well, I can't do that, but I can do that. But at what point did you get comfortable enough to know that you could just rip on something that, and when it was your turn, you could improvise, you could do whatever you wanted?
That's a tough question. I guess when I was younger, I think there was a lot of lack of fear, so you kind of have that naiveness and sort of want to prove yourself type of thing. But I would go, it's like I said, I moved here when I was in sophomore in high school, and I really wanted to learn to play jazz. So I would just go down to Touch of Europe, and I would go down there every weekend, some high schooler going down to a bar or restaurant every weekend to listen to jazz. And eventually I would just learn and became friends with a lot of the musicians. And eventually they would kind of let me sit in. They were very nurturing because there wasn't a consistent jazz jam like there is now.
Right.
And so, yeah, they were just and that gave me an opportunity to start trying things and learning from them. And I would always say, hey, how can I be better? And it was normally work on your time. But yeah, I guess it would probably be later high school is where I started feeling like, okay, I can maybe do this,
Now, what was your point that
as far as drum solos go, I don't normally do drum solos. So but back as a youngster, my dad used to make me get up at wedding dances when they used to have those things.
Recall
him. He'd make me get up and play Wipeout with whatever band was up there, and we didn't know those people. But so I played Wipeout.
Let's go crash
lot.
and actually crash the cymbals.
Yeah, so I played Wipeout a lot as a kid, and then in high school jazz band, I was there more than high school, but I always had to have a featured drum solo then. So I think I not soloed out, but then I started playing in bands. Fireflies don't have a drum solo, and most of the bands I play in don't have a drum solo. So getting back here playing with Ruben and everybody, where they start trading fours is me getting back into trying to get comfortable, doing that. And I like doing that because it's more of a conversation with whoever just soloed before you.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm still not quite comfortable with the whole, me taking choruses, type of thing. Of course, now that if they hear this, they'll make me do that. But
the pressure's on now.
Yeah.
What do you respect about other drummers?
Well, that they're still doing it. Drummers, it's like a family. We're all I think we're all cool with each other. At least around here, and it's like a brotherhood, and so like there's the old adage, you can learn something from every drummer, even if it's what not to do, but you don't go point out, well, that was wrong. You just whatever. And the older I get, the more I realize that more people are right, and like the jazz jam's cool to see young people come and you get you're like, oh, I need to work on that so that I don't get embarrassed,
Totally.
It's funny you bring up that it's like a brotherhood, because that's one of the things that in the 2 years now of doing this show is that this community of arts and entertainment is the big word is collaboration and not competition.
Yeah.
There's all these people out there, and there's tons of untapped talent out there at this point yet too.
Yeah.
But everybody seems to help everybody.
Yeah.
That has to be comforting to you guys as musicians.
Yeah, it's I think it's really cool. I was thinking about this. People ask me the difference between playing like Fireflies and jazz gigs and stuff like that. And I not that the rock bands aren't this, but I feel like the jazz thing, especially here, I kept thinking of the word community, but I think it's more like a fellowship. Like, because I suppose you've been around. There's sometimes that it's the Dan Heier trio,
the Ruben Rodriguez trio,
or the Al Berven trio, or the Joel Shotwell trio.
Yeah,
and it's like it can be all the same people, but me and Dan would be exchanged. So like it's like a rock band. You have those four guys, and it's those four guys. Like you don't have a sub. Stuff like that. So that's where I think the jazz thing's a little bit different. Not that I don't like the other one, but it's
right.
But it is this more inclusive thing, where sometimes in the rock world there's a little bit more of that competition side that rears its ugly head every once in a while. So I don't feel that here, or in the jazz world, I should say. So
no, I guess in the different cities I've lived, everywhere there was always a drummer hang. I mean, and I wasn't able to attend this year, but we just came off the PASIC. It's every November. It's Percussive Arts Society, and it's like drum heaven. Okay, the best drummers in the world are there. All teachers, enthusiasts, students, professionals, you name it, and it's just a really great time. We've been fortunate enough, go to different jazz shows and meet our drum heroes and have like candid conversations with them, if time allows, and all that stuff, depending on the situation. It's a really cool community, especially drummers, but even back like the music scene around here, and like he was kind of talking about the jazz scene. It is a fellowship, whereas the rock world, it's definitely can be a fellowship there, but that's almost more of like a refined. A lot of times I don't know if refine's the right word, but you're playing specific songs with a very specific pattern, where there's a lot more exploration. So like if we trade drum chairs, we're going to create different attitudes. We're playing the same songs, but we're going to create different attitudes and approaches to the songs.
And improv in that as well. Yeah.
Right.
What about the number of drum sets you have? I always love when a guitarist is on. How many guitars do you have? Well, I've only got 7 right now. It's like, what?
You go first.
Well, I have 4 drum sets.
4 drum sets, okay.
At the current moment.
At the current, you say that as though there's a glint in your eye of maybe more.
I hope so. Yeah, no, well, there probably will be for my teaching studio.
Okay.
To get something specific for a smaller room.
Yeah.
And so
I only have 3.
But he has more drums
but the
than
one
me.
is huge.
Most people call it 6, but I have 3.
Dan, let's talk a little bit about being a drum instructor. What ages do you start at?
I've done varied ages. I'll tell you the age that I like. I like around 3rd grade.
Really?
Yeah.
Because most bands in school and so forth start about 5th typically.
Yeah, and well, I should say not earlier than 3rd grade. Normally by that.
Okay.
And there's always exceptions to the rule. I have taken younger students, but but as a general statement, I feel like their attention span can last 30 minutes.
Yeah.
At third grade, it's just a little easier,
right?
And so yeah, I have everything from third grade to I have a 68-year-old retired doctor.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Just picking it up, or just wanted to do better? What?
No, yeah. He retired and wanted to do something with his time, so he chose drums.
That's awesome.
So
that's got to be a lot of fun.
It is. Yeah. It's really cool, just to kind of hopefully share that first experience and enjoy that we've had, with anyone. It doesn't matter their age. So.
Yeah. Have you two ever played together?
I don't think we have we?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Well, when are we going to get this dueling drum thing going?
Well, we got one of his drum kits is two, so if he just brings his one.
Yeah, we'll have to talk to Ricardo.
Yeah. Yeah, because there are apartments above the restaurant.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think, we used to do, I don't think you did, but back when we had the music store, every once in a while at the end of the day, if there was a couple guys there, we'd stay in, because there's always lots of drum sets set up, so we'd play every once in a while, especially in the earlier days. But I don't think we ever did.
No, I don't believe we've ever played together, even percussion and drum set. I don't think.
Interesting.
I know I've played with Chuck.
We have to make it work. We'll get it done.
It'll happen.
We'll put it together. Dan, anything you'd like to do yet as a drummer? Any particular person you want to play with? Any particular style you want to attempt that you haven't?
Well, I mean, I've attempted it, but I was joking. We saw Styx this last week. Yeah. And then we kind of joked that we're only going to talk about that. Anyways, so I was like, man, a double bass drum kit would be kind of cool. Yeah, I don't know, but drum wise or people wise, yeah, I'm open to anything. But like as far as I would like to, I guess record an album, which I got the basics in my head as far as what I want to do, and kind of. I'm in the very early stages, talked to a few people. And so, yeah, I mean, I have recorded albums with JS Quintet and Jamie Lynn and all that stuff and a few other sessions. But just as a,
as a solo.
Sort of solo. I mean, it's not solo, but just like, hey, I have a couple ideas and why not? Let's try it, type of deal.
Al, what about you? What are you hoping you can accomplish yet?
Well, I'm going through some changes right now.
Yeah.
I would like to actually get my own group. And I play lots of different styles of music, and I would like to have a group one group that would actually play a lot of styles of music. I would like to be able to have a unit that was as diverse in their liking as I am.
Mm-hmm.
Which I've been trying this in my 50s now, so I've been trying this forever, trying to find people like that, and because it'd be awesome to have the same guys come play, here,
right,
nice and quiet,
but then can go out and rock it.
Yeah, and and it would be authentic both ways.
Yeah,
and I'd love that, but one of my goals is trying to find some people to actually have my own, so I can bring in songs, and of course that's the joke. That's when the band ends, is when the drummer wants to bring in songs. But
well, we finally got one drummer joke.
There we go. But other than that, I just want to keep improving, improving and learning, and the longer you're in this, when you're young, you think you know it all, and the longer you're in this, you realize I haven't even scratched any surface of this.
Well, it's funny you say you're now into your 50s and still learning. I will turn 59 in a few weeks, and this year one of my goals, I took voice lessons.
Nice.
And I already know I've got a decent enough speaking voice and so forth, but I would find myself at karaoke wanting to sing particular songs and knew I couldn't. So it's like, well, take some voice lessons, find out how.
Yeah.
So it's great, that we always keep learning. And Dan, great that you are teaching them at a young age as well as 68 years old.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's fantastic. All right. Always 2 questions that I like to end with, and then that's Thanksgiving, so we're going to actually have 3. But first, when you're not involved in the arts and entertainment world, what do you like to do for arts and entertainment?
I like to go to concerts.
Mm-hmm.
My wife and I joke, we don't go on vacations, we go on concertations.
Yeah. Understand that.
And so, yeah, we do that a lot together. That would be definitely our number one thing that we attend.
What about other hobbies?
I'm real sporadic, but I do like reading, making coffee and tea. Like,
really?
Yeah, I kind of get into that.
Not just brewing a cup out of the Keurig, but actually making.
Yeah, yep. In just like the different methods and kind of learning about, whether it's French press, pour over, and stovetop espresso. I do want to get the at some Vietnamese restaurants in town. Like, I don't know how to explain this, but the system that they have is really cool and it tastes great. So that might be next.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
So we might be seeing a coffee shop that features drummers.
No. I had a buddy try to do that when I lived in Tennessee, and the banks were like, "And so you want us to give us how much money?" And they're like, "Yeah, no."
That's like opening a drum shop.
Yeah. And Thanksgiving, any big plans or any traditions?
No, this is actually going to be a calm Thanksgiving for us, and so which is welcomed. So.
Yeah. That it can be, no doubt. All right, Al. So when you're not part of the entertainment world, what do you like to be entertained by?
Pretty much the same thing. Concerts are coming here to we come almost every Thursday night, whether I'm playing or not.
Right.
And hang out and listen to music. We just went to we're on a trip to Denver this weekend, and on the way there, my wife started writing a Facebook post about what shows she's been to. I've been to more, but like what shows we've been to. And I forget how many it came up with, but it's very diverse and very, very long.
Yes, it was. I saw.
You saw it. She didn't write down all the jazz ones. So, but it's very, very, like Styx and Journeys and all Toto's and all those bands.
I cried the first time I saw Styx because it made me feel like I was 16 again.
Yeah.
Just amazing.
Todd Zuckerman, the drummer.
Yeah.
Is so good, I almost cried.
Yeah. Can imagine. Passion. It gets in. That's such a big part of arts and entertainment anyway.
Yeah. And you were talking about taking voice lessons. A couple years ago, I went and studied with those guys. Like,
really?
Like 4 of our heroes. And learned that you got to learn more.
Yeah.
So that was kind of cool. Yeah. So
other hobbies?
I'm a one-trick pony. I'm music and I find that I'm a gear person, probably from years at the store. But I don't.
My wife calls it gear acquisition.
Yes. I have a problem where I should be practicing, but I dink around with my gear a lot.
Yeah.
So like tuning, cleaning, changing setups, stuff like that. So that's kind of my hobby, and then I'm getting into recording. So that's still in the hobby stage, so, but that's gear again.
Yeah.
So.
All right. So what about Thanksgiving for you?
Thanksgiving, we're going with the in-laws for dinner. That's it. Just not far away. So.
All right. Fantastic.
Nice.
By the way, I got kicked out of a Dave Matthews Band concert in Denver. It's a different story for a different time.
I know. I think we have time.
Yeah, I have time.
Okay, after we finish. All right. Hey, again, Thanksgiving, and thank you guys both. Appreciate you taking some time to be on the show, and always look forward to seeing you guys when you're playing, and especially right here at our wine bar. And thanks to Ricardo for allowing us the use of the basement to be able to do this. It's always fun. But again, thank you guys so much. Appreciate all that you do for the arts and entertainment community.
Thank you.
Thank you. And you got to come to the Jazz Jam and sing Mac the Knife.
Yes, I will.
So
I will. There's no doubt about that. I will have to make a point of it.
We'll be there.
All right.
Is it next week?
December 1st. So
December 1st.
Yes.
Next week?
Yep.
Yeah. Wow. Amazing, huh? All right. We'll be back to wrap up the Thanksgiving edition of the Dave Holly Hour in just a moment.
Dr. Perry Langston and Dr. Corey Tooney know excellence is in you. That's why they provide you with excellent care at XL Chiropractic, improving your overall health in spirit, body, mind, and will. Get results the natural way. Arrange a consultation, 605-332-9235 or xlchiros.com. Excellent care for excellent people. XL Chiropractic, located at 4309 South Racket Drive in Sioux Falls.
From the Dipsy Doodle Studios at the world headquarters of Big D Entertainment, a 40-square-foot home studio in the middle of America, it's Dave Holly.
That's going to do it for the Thanksgiving edition of the Dave Holly Hour. Thank you so much for listening. The social media shares that you do, everything, we're closing in on 7,000 downloads. Thanks, of course, to Ricardo at Our Wine Bar, where he lets us have a nice place to record and enjoy great conversation like we did with Cindy Bahe and Mike Henriksen, Dan Heier, and Al Berven. Thanks to all of them for spending some time. Thank you again. Enjoy the holiday weekend. One of the things we're going to be taking in Friday night, downtown Sioux Falls, Parade of Lights at 7:30. Now, you want to catch something also that's fun? Just a little bit before that, 7 o'clock, the tree lighting outside Washington Pavilion. We're looking to be at both. Enjoy this holiday. Remember, I'm Dave Holly, and for me, every day is a holiday.
The Dave Holly Hour has been brought to you by the Sky Lounge and Tea, XL Chiropractic, Quality Nails, Ale Hop Brewery Tours, and Jesse Moffett Entertainment. If you would like to contribute to the continued success of this podcast, go to DaveHollyHour.com. At the bottom of the front page is the additional links section. Click on the orange button, Dave Holly on Linktree. You can order merchandise, become a Dave Holly Hour VIP, and make contributions to the show. The Dave Holly Hour is produced in the Dipsy Doodle Studios by Big D Entertainment.
Thanks for listening.